Yeah, go ahead.
I can't wait for this. I just can't. It's going to be great. We go head to head again. You're all in on the Stars. I'm all in on the Kraken. So here's what would worry me. Okay, the Kraken have to go on the road. But the Kraken have been one of the best road teams in the NHL this season. 26, 11, and 4 on the road. They actually play better on the road than they do at home. So I love this. I think, in all honesty, the difference maker is going to be Ottinger. He has struggled. And he's been pulled twice. If there's going to be a good version of him tonight, then I think the Stars win. But I think it all comes down to Ottinger and what version of him we're going to get. The cool thing about the Kraken is they're like playing with house money. It's been a different guy stepping up. I already bet Jordan Eberle over half a point at plus money at BetMGM. This guy has been really good. According to Greg Wyshynski, NHL reporter, he has 8 points in 6 games, including a 3-point night in game 6. So I think if he's good again, I think to get over half a point is a good look at plus money for Jordan Eberle.
It's a lead for me. It won't be the lead for most, is going back to that Lakers third player.
Mm-hmm.
To me, the Lakers defense is going to be really impactful in terms of how I bet this series. We have not had a chance to bash the Warriors yet, and we can do that now if you would like. But one thing that I will give the Lakers enormous credit for is Dennis Schroeder was masterful against Steph Curry. Basically, the Lakers were sort of forcing Klay Thompson and company to beat them, and they couldn't do it. I mean, they couldn't shoot it in the ocean for that game 6, and the Lakers were basically pulling away. And as much as the Warriors were trying to limit AD's capacity, still he was able to get his for the most part. And then LeBron James went off in game 6, and that was that, sort of saving up his energy for when it mattered the most. And it turned out working out just fine for the Lakers. But defensively, this team is really good. In fact, I would argue they're the best defense remaining in the playoffs right now. And now you have a one-on-one matchup between AD and Jokic that's going to be must-see TV. That, to me, is going to be interesting in terms of totals. Maybe we should expect some unders here because we want to believe, okay, Jokic, he'll have a triple-double, that's fine, and LeBron James is still the GOAT, et cetera, et cetera. No, I'm expecting a grinded-out kind of series, some low-scoring games, and if you're asking me what I like about Game 1, it's probably the under. It is amazing that it wasn't that long ago that the two favorites to win the Stanley Cup both resided in the country of Canada. But Erin, Canada, one of the 39 places you've lived in, is now in mourning because Toronto was eliminated and now Edmonton has been eliminated. They lose to the Vegas Golden Knights 5-2 in the clincher in Game 6. Over 6.5 goals hit with an empty netter with 39 seconds left. It was Jonathan Marchessault with a natural hat trick. Some of that was Stuart Skinner being out of position, but also, Vegas continued to pour it on, and they got the job done as far as that's concerned. But Erin, is Canada in mourning right now because the Stanley Cup drought will continue another year?
Probably. I mean, I last lived there nearly 10 years ago, lived in Toronto, worked for Sportsnet, and people do take it pretty seriously there. I don't know if I'd go as far to say that they feel like Americans stole their sport, but they are not happy about American teams consistently being really
Stealing
good.
their
And their team, yeah, it's not good over there. I haven't checked in with the pulse of the Canadian fanfare over there, but I don't think they're doing well. I really don't. And I feel bad for the Oilers, especially Draisaitl. That dude played his heart out and no longer in the playoffs. It's sad.
This is a disaster.
Yeah.
Don't you guys think this is a disaster for the NHL? I mean, you guys are in it much more than most, but I just think about the big markets, the superstar players. How many are left? I mean, if the Leafs were, even though it's outside of the U.S., there would be interest in the Leafs. You know what I mean? Like the Oilers,
Yeah.
because of the scoring that they have. Markets like Boston being out. They were such a heavy favorite, and we heard all year how great they were, and they were most likely to win the Cup. And then I'm looking around, and it's, okay, we've got Florida, Carolina, Vegas. Who the hell cares? But I just want to put that out there that we very well could revisit the whole Ja Morant thing.
Yeah.
Boy, okay. I got to go back to Joel Embiid, the MVP that was unavailable in game one, unavailable at the end of the last series. That's been his career. Oh, but he's a big man. They always get hurt. Yeah, they do. But he's also the MVP, and he's on a podium talking about how I need help. I need this. I need that. When LeBron did that, what was the reaction? LeBron did the exact same thing. And then the super teams started. How are those super teams working lately, by the way? Not all that
very
great.
Well, by Katie
No.
and Booker.
Embiid goes from 33 points per game in the regular season to less than 24. That is the biggest drop-off we've ever seen by an MVP in the playoffs. When I saw that stat, I was like, whoa. And he's out there. We need help. What are you doing, dude? It's your lack of production. That's part of this. He was drafted almost a full decade ago, and he still has not passed the second round of the postseason. I mean, yeah, last year in the playoffs too, when they were bounced, he missed games 1 and 2 of that series. It is very easy for Embiid to deflect because people love him. They love his honesty. They enjoy that he's outspoken. And you have two of the biggest busts in the NBA playoffs in the history of the game, with Doc Rivers as a head coach and James Harden as his wingman. But Embiid, I'm taking him to court. What a joke. Sick of the excuses. I hope Philadelphia is killing him, but every Philadelphia fan that I speak to, they've been telling me for years how great Embiid is, and he needs to win the MVP over Jokic every single season. I wonder if they feel the same. I don't know. I'm considering taking the MVP away. It should be Jokic, and Jokic is going to be playing this week.
So of all the places that you visited, Paul, while you were away from us, which one was your favorite?
So I think my favorite thing that we did was a moto food tour through Ho Chi Minh City.
Ooh.
It was actually our last night there. There was about, I don't know, a group of 10 or 12, but they picked us up at our hotel and we hopped on. I mean, it's crazy. That is a staged picture. They would not let me drive. And honestly, I was glad because the traffic there.
Game 6 between the Nuggets and the Suns. I'm taking the Nuggets plus
like,
3.5. You can
insanity.
still grab
Just
that number
no
over at BetMGM.
regard. Like,
Phoenix is going to need another massive game from Devin
wild,
Booker and Kevin Durant if it wants to send this series back to Denver for Game 7. The two combined for 72 and 88 points respectively in Games 3 and 4, which is
called
pretty
Exo
unbelievable.
Tours, but they took us
just
all
54
around
points
the
in
city.
Game 5.
Like, this was a
now, in
4
any
to
other
5
scenario,
hour
that'd
tour.
still be a pretty
We did
solid
different
stat line for the
stops, different food, which was, I mean, there's a lot of eating, a lot of drinking throughout the 2 weeks, all good stuff. But this was cool. We got to stop. We stopped through, I think, 4 or 5 different parts of the city. And obviously it's a massive city. So got to see it all. And it was like, you know, I haven't ridden many motorcycles in my life, but you just get to hang on the back and cruise around the city. So that was my favorite thing. But it was a week. It was a lot. It was a week in Japan and then a week in Vietnam. But it was a lot of fun. It was a good mix of seeing things and then chilling for a little bit. So it was a good mix. But I mean, I think this was my favorite thing that I did. The difference I'd say between like Hanoi and Ho Chi Minh City and Hanoi's up north, Ho Chi Minh City, Saigon is in the south. But even the people giving the tour were just saying like Ho Chi Minh City is a little bit more, or Hanoi is a little bit more old-fashioned, conservative, whereas like Ho Chi Minh City's kind of more, I don't know if westernized is the right word, but it's you could tell it's less uptight, less traditional. And then as far as Japan goes, Tokyo, like Japan was kind of wild. It wasn't much of a culture shock because it is such an international city that like you still run into some Japanese, and I take some Japanese classes just to get the basics down so I could like order something in a restaurant or say excuse me or hello, thank you, that sort of thing. But Tokyo was just so It's just such an international city that you could get by. And the other wrinkle was, like, this was literally my first time out of the boot in 6 weeks, 7 weeks, 8 weeks.
Oh, yeah.
So, like, I love walking everywhere when I travel, but it took me a while to get going. Like, and we were pretty sore. I was pretty sore at various times. So that slowed me down a little bit, but all in all, it was a great trip.